warm welcome to TV Africa News and thank you for always joining us. This is Africa Today. My name is Najima Lima, but first are the headlines. Increasing prices for basic commodities hits Ugandans. Use of cryptocurrency not allowed in Uganda, says Bank of Uganda. Tension rises between President Kenyatta and his vice president. Uganda hosts first ever Africa Level C umpiring netball course. A warm welcome once again. Now the news in detail. Faced with the sharp increase in prices of everyday products, Ugandans are struggling to make ends meet. Authorities are blaming the situation on the long-term effects of the COVID-19 pandemic and the raging war in Ukraine. We have more. According to the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, vegetable oil prices rose another 23% in March. The Ugandan State Minister of Finance tried to calm the population in a parliament address 2 weeks ago, saying his country wasn't the only one affected by these challenges. David Bahati declared that the situation has been worsened by the Russian-Ukraine conflict, which has further disrupted the supply of oil, cereals, such as wheat, corn, sunflower oil, as well as essential metals like aluminium and nickel. He added that the two countries are major producers and exporters of these commodities. Herbert Jalum, a business analyst and CEO of Young Trips, a business management and consultancy firm, said that the free market system is what is causing damage to citizens in Uganda. He added that the government should have the capacity or the interest or the will to be able to detect some of these things, because once you leave everything to market forces, then you are leaving everything to the business people or the private sector. Susan Wasige, a Kampala resident, said that with major salary of US 5% a day, she can no longer afford to get soap, which costs $2, or even cooking oil sold at $4 to support herself and her 3 children. With the major disruptions changing the world order, Uganda will most likely have to make strategic changes and look for new suppliers. Not an easy task, as according to Human Rights Watch, in 2020, Kampala imported 48% of its wheat from Russia and Ukraine. 15 midwives have been recognized with certificates of midwifery excellence by the Swedish Embassy and UNFPA. The midwives were selected following a national nomination process and deliberations by districts, regional and national award committees.
In her speech, the Speaker of the Parliament of Uganda, Anita Monk, read by Ojara Mapenduzi, reminded members of Parliament to prioritize matters that affect women and the girl child. According to the statement, the Speaker noted that on many occasions, she asked the members of Parliament to prioritize the issues of midwives as they carry out their roles of appropriation and oversight. Among further said that as a country, we are blessed with a female Vice President, Speaker, Prime Minister, and even all the 3 ministers in the health docket are women, and therefore have a golden opportunity to push the agenda of the women. Sarah Opendi, chairperson of the Uganda Women's Parliamentary Association, said that there is a shortage of midwives in health facilities and most of them overwork, where some work for 24 hours a day. She noted that as government constructs health center 3s, it must make sure that the midwives are trained, but also hope that the Ministry of Health will be able to review the structure of the health facilities.
Bank of Uganda has warned members of the public that it has not licensed any company and any person to offer crypto service in Uganda. The development comes at a time when 1,000 Ugandans lost over $3 billion in online digital transactions between 2018 and 2020 to a quack cryptocurrency dealer.
In the last few years, cryptocurrency has gained popularity in Uganda, especially in the urban centers. Many Ugandans, especially professionals seeking a supplementary income, and the unemployed have invested in cryptocurrencies in a bid to make a killing. However, on several occasions, many of these have been fleeced of their monies. In the April 29 notes, Bow noted that there are several media reports and adverts telling the public that they can convert cryptocurrencies into mobile money and vice versa, which the central bank says is not true. The central bank has consequently warned all licensed entities under the National Payment Systems Act 2020 to desist from facilitating cryptocurrency transactions. The central bank has referred members of the public to a 2019 circular by the Ministry of Finance in which it gave government its position in regards the use of cryptocurrency in Uganda. According to the 2019 circular, the Finance Ministry said despite the emergence of the practice of using, holding and trading in cryptocurrencies in the country, the holders bear the risk since the same is not issued or regulated by any government or central bank in any part of the world. Cryptocurrencies are digital assets that are designed to effect electronic payments without the participation of a central authority or intermediary, such as a central bank or licensed financial institution. Many such schemes have happened in Uganda over the years, and members of the public have lost their money.
Let's take a quick break. We will be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching TV Africa News, the right to know. As Kenya's general elections are approaching, tension between President Uhuru Kenyatta and his Vice President William Ruto is mounting. President Kenyatta has asked his deputy to resign, claiming he did not act enough for his country.
Following President Kenyatta's comment, his Vice President William Ruto tweeted back that the last cabinet meeting had been organized 2 years ago and encouraged his leader to call him. General elections are meant to happen next August, and 47 candidates have already joined the race. Kenyatta can no longer stand for re-election after 2 terms, but William Ruto is resenting him for backing Raila Odinga, a former prime minister, instead of him. The tussle even invited itself during the state funeral of former leader Mwai Kibaki last Friday, when the political opponents did not even shake hands. The president does not have the ability to get rid of his deputy. Even if he wished, he can only be removed through impeachment or incapacity. Inflation has been a major issue in this election race. President Kenyatta announced a 12% increase in the Kenyan minimum wage last Sunday to compensate with the rising cost of living.
Moving on, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa abandoned his workers' day speech in the northwestern city of Rustenburg on Sunday when striking mine workers stormed the stage. The workers employed by Sibanye Stillwater Mine are demanding a wage increase of 1,000 rand per month instead of the 850 rand being offered by the mine. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa was bold as he started his address with a call for the striking workers and other members of the Congress of South African Trade Unions to come down and listen to what he had to say. Shiamo Diole, South African Democratic Teachers Union member, said workers were fed up of empty promises and vowed that workers would take to the street should their demands not be met. Shortly after that, Ramaphosa was forced to give up his speech altogether when angry miners stormed the stage at the Royal Bafokeng Stadium. Ramaphosa's security guards whisked him away from the venue. Zingiswa Lucy, president of Congress of South African Trade Unions, said the chaos that unfolded was an indication of how workers really felt about their leaders. The striking workers have become even angrier in recent days over reports that Sibanye Stillwater CEO Neil Froneman earned more than 300 million rand in 2021 in salary payments and company share schemes. Away from that, Mali's ruling junta announced on Monday it was breaking off from its defense accords with former colonial ruler France, condemning flagrant violations of its national sovereignty by the French troops there.
While appearing on state television, the military junta spokesman Colonel Abdul Maiga said that the government of the Republic of Mali noted with regret a profound deterioration in military cooperation with France for some time now. Maiga cited multiple instances of French forces having violated the country's airspace. He also referred to the June 2021 decision by France to end joint operations with Malian forces. Tensions between France and the junta in Mali, which seized power in August 2000, have been rising for some time. Monday's announcement, threatened several times over the past few weeks, was the latest confirmation of deteriorating relations between the junta and France. The agreements being ended set the framework for France's intervention in Mali in 2014. They were signed a year after French troops deployed a large force to help Mali's armed forces stop a jihadist offensive there. But in February, France decided to pull out its troops after falling out with the military junta, particularly over its rapprochement with the Kremlin.
Tunisian President Kais Saied has announced the establishment of a national dialogue expected for months, but from which will be excluded all political parties that he considers responsible for the political and economic crisis shaking the country.
In an address on Sunday evening for the Muslim festival of Eid marking the end of Ramadan, Mr. Said said that a commission would manage the national dialogue, a measure repeatedly called for by the G7 countries and the European Union since he assumed full powers on July 25, 2021. 4 organizations will participate, including the trade union UGTT, the employers organization UTICA, the Tunisian League of Human Rights, and the National Bar Association. This is the quartet that had received in 2015 the Nobel Peace Prize for its contribution to the democratic transition in Tunisia, cradle of the Arab Spring, and considered at the time as the only democracy in the Arab world. Since the summer of 2021, President Said, who was democratically elected at the end of 2021, has seized all powers and is ruling the country by decree. At the end of March, he dissolved the parliament, which had been dominated for 10 years by coalitions led by Islamist-inspired party Ennahda, Hizb Noah. In recent weeks, he has also changed the composition of the Supreme Court of the Judiciary, which governs the judicial system, and of the High Electoral Authority (ICI).
Let's once again take a quick break. We will be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching TV Africa News, the right to know. In our business news today, prices of fuel have increased again in Burundi. The increase, the second in 3 months, follows the announcement made by the government last Thursday.
Speaking on television, the minister in charge of energy blamed the increase on external factors. According to Ibrahim Wizeye, the minister of hydraulics, energy and mines, following the global economic situation, notably the fragility of a convalescent economy, the war in Ukraine, supply disruptions, and geopolitical tensions that followed, the world prices of several products, including fuel, have increased significantly. The minister announced that the price of a barrel of crude oil on the international market rose from $70.8 on December 2, 2021 to $103.67 on 27 April 2022, an increase of about 47%. 2 days after the announcement, the consequences were visible on the ground. As early as Saturday, long queues in front of petrol stations were visible in the capital Bujumbura. Users came to fill up despite the price increase to avoid the shortage. Taxi drivers and transporters fear that this new increase will have an impact on their activity. Alexis Ndihokubwayo, a taxi driver, complained that the increase is very high and asked the government to lower it a little so that the transporters can also work well and make a profit. Some service stations have run dry and many vehicles are still waiting to be served. The last increase was at the end of January 2022.
In our health news today, among the approximately 4,000 victims of COVID-19 in Zambia registered by the World Health Organization lies 300 health workers. That number was released by the Health Minister Sylvia Masebo, who further encouraged all medical staff to get vaccinated. We have more.
Just above 10% of the Southern African country's population is fully vaccinated, according to Reuters. Zambia started administering doses to its population in April 2021. Masebo said her cabinet was going to relaunch the vaccination campaign next week and was planning to bring vaccines to all communities. The minister added that in the last 24 hours, 22 COVID-19 cases out of 1,004 tests were detected. According to the health ministry, Zambia is currently responding to 3 current public health emergencies on top of COVID-19, including cholera, polio, and bilharzia.
And in sports, the Uganda Netball Federation has held the first ever Africa Level C umpiring course. The week-long course started on Sunday, 1st May, and will climax on Saturday, 7th May 2022 at the Kamocha Community Sports Ground. Namibian instructor Juliet Emaresia is the course main facilitator. We have more. There are 20 participants in this non-residential course that comes at such an opportune timing as Uganda is set to host the 2022 East African Netball Championships in Kampala. The course has been theory and practical parts with emphasis on sanctions, terminologies in the game, hand signals, fouls, and other areas. The Africa Level C umpiring course is the first of its kind in Uganda. This training arrives in the era of the current UNF idiosyncratic President, Honorable Sarah Breeze Babide, her entire executive committee, and the trustees. The different participants will be rewarded with certificates of merit upon accomplishing this Africa Level C umpiring course. This is the first Africa Level C umpiring course that the Federation has started in Uganda. It is the beginning course of umpiring on the African continent, and the Federation hopes that they shall excel with flying colors to start international umpiring. That ends our news bulletin today. Please do stay tuned. More programming coming your way.